joined in the studio now by Arsenal club legend David Seaman in partnership with Toolstation. David, good to see you as always.
And you guys.
Thanks for popping in. We've just been talking about the price of fame. It's a wonderful thing that people want to stop you and have a selfie. Yes. You just did a selfie in the lift with someone on the way up, didn't you?
talkSPORT Towers, selfie in the lift.
Nice. And Charlie was asking any of the weird, wonderful places you've been spotted, asked for a selfie. Can you think of any?
Just it's all over the place. It's just so weird, you know. But I'm just
everywhere around the world.
Yeah, you know, like Singapore. Yeah, but it depends. It's normally like on holiday where you don't expect it, innit? You know, I've been like all over, but it's just I thought I got away with it when I took the disguise off. The tack and ponytail came off.
Of course,
But the voice is still the same.
Still got big hands.
It was quite a monumental day, wasn't it, when the tash came off? What was it? I mean, did you think at first, I might grow it back, or was there any doubts?
No. So what happened with the tash is it got shorter and shorter. You know, so I was
that's not a good look.
I know, yeah. No.
It gets to the point where it has to stop.
Really? Not from the sides, but it just got, you know, but the ponytail was the one. The ponytail was the one that just went, and it went like that. You know, I did it on GMTV, and it was
Could you still grow it?
Epic. Yeah, well, I've still got a good head of hair. Might be a different colour. But
I can't imagine that they stop you on the riverbank. I imagine fishermen leave you alone, don't they?
They do a little bit, yeah. You know, I do go up to linear fisheries quite a lot, and that's quite busy, you know, and you know what to expect up there. But when I'm on my local syndicate, you know, but the lads are good, you know. I fish on the Wazen estate, and they're good. They lead me to it.
Yeah.
So.
Having such big hands as well, the fish will
looks tiny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tiny little fish you've caught there, David.
But there's treats.
Is that a gudgeon? No, mate.
You have to hold it away from your body, don't you?
Exactly. Hold it like really close to the camera. Just that your fingers look like sausage fingers, though.
What is your record fishing wise? What's your finest catch?
A 42-pound carp.
Blimey.
Which I caught at
Mirror?
Common.
Oh, 42 pounds.
Yeah, so that's still
you knew it was in there? It was one of those that people like to catch in the fishery,
so I went with my mate Damien Clark, who's one of the big bosses at Corda, and I said to him, I want to catch a 40. So he guested me on his lake a couple of times, and then I got a ticket to join. And it was the first fish I caught out of the lake. It was a 42-pounder. I was like, right, job done.
Did you get any of the Arsenal boys or any of your old England? Because we saw Phil Foden getting away from it in the Championship, didn't we? Just going off and doing a bit of fishing in there. I mean, did you get anybody else into it while you were there?
At Arsenal, it would be... I used to take Alex Meninga, who was like my number 2 goalie. I took him a few times, and he actually caught the biggest fish in the lake, which at that time was a 36-pounder. Wow. Yeah, down at Croxley Hall.
I bet you were delighted.
I know, I was like...
Well done, Alex.
But Alex loved his fishing. I've taken Lee Dixon a couple of times. I actually took Lee Dixon with his son.
Right.
And the aim was to get his son fishing. Lee would not put the rod down because he was enjoying himself so much.
But Mr. Parr, I think he didn't have the patience, couldn't keip still long enough.
No. Ray can look after other entertainment.
Yeah, of course he can, yeah. Well, keep net full of becks, wouldn't it, really? Mate? Keep some cold, keep some cold. So, title race. I mean, did it feel pretty seismic for you, what went on at the weekend? You say you were watching at home, but after what happened with Liverpool, you must have thought, blimey, this is our chance.
Yeah. When you look at that, the weekend, it's really disappointing, but I still feel there's going to be a few more changes, because literally, like a week before this, Liverpool dropped points at Forest, then we picked up against Tottenham, and so that was all right. But then the following week, so for me, it's not over at all. But we can't afford to have any more results like that.
No.
Not when you're in a commanding situation, when you're 2-0 up, and then you let Villa come back, and it just like really demoralises the crowd. Whether they were a little bit like that after the Liverpool result, because it was 0-0 for so long with Brentford, and then they scored, whether the fans were down a bit, I don't know, but yeah, it was disappointing, but we can't afford any more slip-ups like that.
No. I mean, they are looking to try and do a bit of business in January. The sort of players they would like to land are difficult to get in January.
Yeah.
But I'll take you'd like to see him do a little bit of business.
Yeah, everybody's screaming out about getting a striker, and that's what it looks like. It looks like that's exactly what we need. Obviously the Jesus injury is going to be long term.
Yeah.
Saka, he's long term, but he will come back before the end of the season. But when you've got big signings like that, or big players like that out of your team, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is with Saliba, whether he's going to be fit or not. So we'll have to wait. But it just looks like we're trying to get a striker and to get a marquee striker, marquee as in like their finished article, their goal scorers in the January transfer window doesn't happen that often because the other clubs, the selling clubs, they don't want to let go, do they?
And he'll point out that he's got Jesus and Jesus got injured, and so he's got a marquee striker there,
because from this point of view, it was a shame because he come back and he was looking sharp, wasn't he? He was playing well.
He did, and he found some form and he found some goals as well. But even when he was playing, he was like, it reminded me of Harry Kane when he was at Tottenham, how he would drop deep too much. Harry Kane for England sometimes, where he would drop deep. And I'm like, Harry, we need you in the box. That's what I was thinking about Jesus. But he was still scoring, so I was like proven wrong many a time.
And Havertz has split the fan base a bit. I mean, I think it's a bit of a shame for him because he's doing his best, isn't it? It's not his natural position, is it?
He's not an out-and-out striker. No. But he's tried. He's had some good goals though. He's had quite a few. And he's had some important goals. He missed a couple at the weekend and that, but it's so frustrating because I can feel the fans' frustration as well. There's a few little rumblings now that's going on because we're not where we want to be.
Yeah. There's a bit of a feeling, I know, I've got mates who are Arsenal fans, somehow I have, and family. But that feeling that maybe that business should have been done in the summer. They should have increased the depth of the squad with a bit more quality then. Yeah,
well, we thought we were doing that with Merino and I forgot his name now, Calafiori.
Yeah.
And we thought that was going to be enough. Everybody was still saying, no, we need a striker, we still need a striker. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens with that, whether they do get someone. Because I know for a fact that they are trying like mad to get one.
Yeah.
But whether it's the one they want now or whether it'll be the one they want in the summer.
Well, Ivan Toney was the talk, wasn't it? That was all the talk all last season was. But then I think for whatever reason it didn't materialise.
There were conversations for one.
Yeah, but I don't think Arsenal are ever going to be able to match what he was offered.
No.
In
nobody
Saudi
could in
or Dubai,
country,
wherever he went. So that's going to be a tough one to match that. But I'm sure that there's other ones in the pipeline, and we'll have to just wait and see.
Saliba was a massive miss the other day, and we were chatting. Andy went to the Brentford-Liverpool game, and he said he just kept a close eye on Van Dijk. Said what a wonderful player he is, and if Liverpool lost him, they would be in trouble. And you saw with Saliba, man, Gabriel. I mean, you played in front of a pretty settled back four.
They weren't
great players. But it does make a difference. If you take one aspect, if you take one part of that out, the whole sort of house of cards can fall down.
Yeah, and we were lucky because we had like the back four, and then like Martin Keown would come into that as well. And then when Baldy left, we had Sol Campbell. So there was big players that would come in and just fit into the jigsaw quite nicely. At the moment, we're getting players that, look at Partey, had to play at right back, and we saw what he did, like when he went into a central defending role where he lost his marker, didn't even lose. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was thinking, but. When
he was playing right back, wasn't he? He lost his marker on
the first goal with the cross, he didn't close down properly, and then he lost his marker for the goal as well, and. When you get players playing out of position, it's tough, because that's what happens. They find themselves in weird situations or weird positions on the pitch that's not normal for them.
Well, ask Paul, he's got a makeshift back four at Spurs.
Well, I mean, we've had Archie Gray playing in a back four, back three. He's not even a defender. So,
well, I was devastated when you got him from Leeds, because that's my team, and to see him doing what he's doing, I think he's going to be a special player.
Going to be a great player.
For a guy that age to be able to do that under that pressure as well, that shows you a lot about the player.
How are you goalkeeping against the Arsenal corners, David? You wouldn't have to, obviously. You've been goal up the other end, but
if you were on the receiving,
it feels quite old school to me. It feels quite fourth division.
It is
sort of bang it in under the bar and get the big bloke to come and stick his head
on it.
But then,
first of all, go and batter the goalkeeper.
That's
what they do. They're like
take their gloves off. I mean, mate, if someone tried to take your gloves off, I mean, you could probably get away with a bit more. You'd be stamping on his feet, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, that's what we used to do. I remember Les Sealey coming up once I think he was playing it for Man United, no, it was West Ham actually. Played for West Ham, and he came up for a corner and grabbed my you-know-whats and, made my eyes water.
Really? Yeah. So you can't do that now with cameras that would be great.
And then the other thing as well is that on corners now, what's happened to the old obstruction foul?
Yeah. Well, exactly. I said this the other day. Whatever happened to obstruction? There was one the other. I couldn't believe it. Where to hear Howard Webb talking about the Mateta one on Ramsdale in that game. I thought, hang on, he's literally pushing him out of the way, stopping him getting to the ball.
Yeah. And they're not even looking at the ball.
Yeah.
You know, they're manhandling, and apparently it's only allowed in the Premier League, like elsewhere in Europe and that. Like they blow up for that sort of thing.
Well, we've gone from, I've been saying a lot on the show, we've gone from overprotected species goalkeepers to completely open season. I feel like I can just smack a goalkeeper in the mouth and get away. And it's not right. Because
no, it's not.
They know they can get away with it. And they hear the head of the referees say, oh, yeah, that's a fine challenge. I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, because I still go in at Arsenal like once a week with the young goalkeepers, and first thing I tell them, you know, on the corner, is like, get your hands up so the referee can see your arms up there. Then nobody can pin your arms down when you're trying to get to the ball. And then sometimes take them to a position, whoever's like mine marking you, to where you know you don't want to be. And then time it so that when the corner comes in, you move, and then you're in position to go and attack the ball or step. Yeah. But then, because what that creates then is that if the guy that's man marking you is trying to grab you, it's more obvious that that you're trying to get away. He's not just blocking you in. Because Ben White was brilliant at it. I think it was Ben White that started all this, but he was fantastic at it. He wouldn't go in there and hold him and everything. He'd be out of the way, and all of a sudden, right at the last minute, he'd be right in front of the goalkeeper. But just like a little nudge.
I'd be pulling one of his earrings, see if you like that. I was going to say to you, did you like... We've got to go in a moment, but we're going to keep talking to David in a moment, and we've got some questions coming in. Yeah. Did you like having one of your players as a kind of shield? Or because we've seen a few times your own players kind of getting in the way. We've seen a few goals quite recently. One at the weekend, keeper can't get there because his own players sort of blocking him off.
But if I was in goal now, I would definitely have a shield. Because that guy can then push the other guy away,
and you've got that.
And then you've got a little bit of movement, because it's the first movement. Because when you're assessing the flight of the ball that's coming in from the corner, it's really quick, and you're moving all the time for it. But as soon as you get blocked for that, it can really mess you up.
Yeah.
So I would definitely have a shield and tell him to try and keep that guy away from me.
David Seaman's in the studio with us. Our good friends at Toolstation. We'll keep talking after the news headlines. Former Arsenal and England goalkeeper, safe hands David Seaman in the studio with us with Toolstation. We're covering lots of ground. We've got London Football Awards coming up soon with the Willow Foundation, so you're an ambassador.
But we're actually co-presidents with Bob.
Co-presidents?
Me and my wife, Frankie. So,
great.
Yeah, before Meg's passed away, we had a meeting with her and that, and she was like, will you please step up as co-presidents?
That's brilliant.
And to
that's
look
great,
after
David.
Bob, so I couldn't say no.
No,
I would have never said no anyway.
No, it's a brilliant charity. Yeah.
Tell us about the charity, David.
Yeah, so we give special days to seriously ill young adults from the ages of 16 to 40. And that can mean anything. It can mean like going to a football match, going to the theatre, just absolutely anything that they want to do, centre parks, zoos, or whatever it is. And we actually we raise the funds, and then we actually arrange the days as well. So it's a full-time job, but when you see the smiles on their face, I've actually done a couple. I recently had a lad at the Arsenal training ground who wanted to be. He was a goalie. He wanted to be coached by me, and took him to the training ground. But it's not just like the actual recipient; it's the families.
It's kind of respite, and to see them, to see somebody that they love, kind of enjoying themselves.
And the smiles, the smiles on their faces just makes it all worthwhile, and that's what the LFAs is all about as well. It's a big night for Willow. It's February the 27th, and it's at Wembley this time. So, we're going to try and take it around some of the grounds and see how it goes. But
and what do you do? Pick a London 11, or
there's all sorts goes on. There's
best player, best goalkeeper. Players outside the Premier League, all London based.
Yeah, it's all London based, and the turnout we get is fantastic. We have all the lads. When possible, they turn up to collect the awards, which does really help.
Yeah, we had Chris Ramsey, and he's got the contribution to football in London last week. Chris came in, good to see him. He's chuffed to have won it. There could well be a few tables left, or a few seats at tables, and it is a good night, though, as you said, a lot of people turn out, and they're always happy to have a chat. You'll get a chance to meet a lot of your heroes and stuff, so it's a good evening.
It is, and it's great, that Bob still gets there as well, so it's great I was sat next to him last time, and it's just a fantastic night, and it's a great celebration of London football.
Absolutely. Great. So go and check it out. If you go to London Football Awards, all the details are there if you'd like to come along. As I said, I think there's a couple of tables or spots on tables that you could still claim. David Raya's penalty technique against Manchester United in the cup took a bit of heat. There. What did you make? What do you make of that?
Well, it wasn't out of my book of penalty saving. It was strange, I don't know what he was thinking because he went so early a couple of the times.
Yeah.
I know that in the past he's had decent success, but as soon as I saw him do it, I saw him do it once. And then I thought, no, don't do that again because they are looking. I saw a couple of the Man United penalty takers come up and actually stop. Not stop, but do the little hesitation.
Themselves a bit of time.
Yeah. Don't forget, these guys on the halfway line, they're watching him all the time. They're seeing whether he's going to go to the left all the time or to the right all the time. And sometimes that happens. I remember Peter Schmeichel in a Charity Shield once, after the penalty shootout, he went, "Did you notice that?" I was like, "What?" He went, "I went left every time." I was like, "Oh, really?" And they won.
What was your research like then? Did you have penalty takers on the water bottle? Were you expected to remember it all? Or?
No, I didn't. I just did it on the way that they run up at the ball. The angle that they arrive at the ball dictated to me which way I was going to go. But I would always wait for them because some of them would come in looking at you, as though they're going to watch you all the time. Then at the last seconds, they look down to it, look at the ball to strike it. And as soon as they looked down was when I went.
Yes,
and I would go. Yeah. I would go either way. Not quite as early as David Ray did, but a
lot of Scotland fans will say that you're just waiting for the ball to move.
Just wait for it to...
Uri Geller. Yeah. In his helicopter.
Yeah, just to hit me on the arm or on my elbow.
Or Gary Mack.
I know. Well, we had Uri Geller on my podcast, on the Seaman Says podcast.
Really?
And I was asking him about that, and about, the Scotland game and this, and he was, I was like, where were you for the Germany penalties, mate?
Yeah, exactly.
Gary McAllister does think the ball moved.
It did. No, he did.
It does move.
It actually does, but it moves slower. And I'd faced Gary before in penalties, like when he was at Liverpool and Leeds.
Yeah.
And he changed his side, and sometimes he'd go for pace or whatever, but he was always a good penalty taker. So I think the fact that the ball did start to move was why he went for pace. And he got a good strike on it, but as I went to my right, I knew I'd gone a little bit too early or too far, and that's why I didn't have time to straighten my arm out to do that. I just stuck my elbow on it, and it just flew over the crossbar. And
beautiful.
And we all know what happened after that. 90 seconds later, a certain Mr. Gascoigne nicks all the glory by scoring a half-decent goal.
Of course, no one remembers the penalty save.
Thanks a lot.
Was there someone that you could never save from? It always seemed to, even if you kind of did all the things you did before, was there someone who always scored pens against you?
I think Matt Lettice was decent.
Always did that against everybody, really.
Yeah,
didn't he?
Piercy was like, if you save it, you're going to end up in the goal anyway because he hit it that hard. There wasn't one that always scored past me, I don't think, though. Because I had this little theory, and it was only like a little theory. But every time I got a chance to be on TV or on the radio or in the press, I would say I've got this secret theory of saving penalties.
Try and get
just to add the pressure to the forwards.
Good idea,
because I actually took a penalty against Peter Schmeichel in the Charity Shield, and I was giving it loads, 2-step run up and everything. But as I put the ball down, I looked up and the goal at Wembley just shrunk. Peter's there waiting for it. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Anyway, I put it to my right, Peter's left, he saved it easy. I was like, that's the last time I'll be doing that.
And did he take one against you in that game?
No, he didn't. No, Brian Robson came up and scored the winner.
James Trafford is good at penalties, and he scored. He saved 2 last week, I think. For his club. Do you think he'll be on Thomas Tuchel's list? He's a bit young still. Who do you think Tuchel will be looking at?
Yeah, James Trafford is developing well, and he's getting game time, obviously. But I think the front three, obviously, is Pickford, Ramsdale. Yeah. I'd look at Henderson. Nick Pope's been out for quite a long time now. So he's dropping down in the pecking order a little bit, and I think, but in those three, you've got 3 really good goalkeepers and 3 goalkeepers that have played in the Premier League regular.
We were saying yesterday that, David, that Thomas Tuchel's coming in with a fresh pair of eyes, and all of his spotters are doing the same thing. We probably will see players like Elliot Anderson getting a chance because playing so well. Yeah. But keeper-wise, no one's really stepping up and taking Jordan Pickford on.
No, and Jordan's not really. He's not really done anything. Excuse me. He's not really done anything wrong for England. No. He had a couple of half mistakes where his distribution wasn't brilliant that led to a couple of goals, but other than that, he's been brilliant. And he's doing his stuff for Everton as well this season. He's making some big saves. He's a bit like Aaron. He's having a lot to do. Yeah. So he's making a lot of saves, but then that can can rebound was in where you can actually make a few more mistakes as well. That
you're in the spotlight. Mike wants to know, actually, David, who do you think is the best goalie in the Premier League at the moment?
What a good question.
Yeah.
At the moment, so I love Edison at Man City.
Yeah,
but he's not been in the team.
No, it's the same as been at Liverpool. We've had the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I like
Sells for Forest is.
But
insane.
Martinez at Villa.
As
much as I don't like his style or his antics and everything, but he's a proper goalie. I remember when he came to Arsenal. He came to Arsenal as a 16-year-old, and I was there coaching with Tony Roberts, who was the academy goalkeeping coach, and they'd asked me to go along, and I saw him, and I came, and they were like, they paid £1 million for this 16-year-old, like a long time ago, and I was like, and I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, he's like way off it. Like technique-wise and everything, but you could tell that he got this fire in his head, that he wanted to be really good.
Did he not? I mean, because, he was 10 years at the club and he was out on loan all the time. He barely got any game time. And there's that infamous line where he said, they didn't deserve me.
There's a shock.
A goalkeeper at 16 is very different to a goalkeeper at 28, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. And then but what he also did as well is he went out on loan a lot.
Yeah.
So now he's getting game time. And I'm telling the lads at Arsenal that, you've got to play.
Yeah.
Because in training, you can train as much as you like, but there's no consequence in training. If you make a mistake or whatever, but do it on a match day when you're in front of fans. Then there's consequence, and that's the pressure that you need to see whether you can still do it. But with Martinez, he went out a lot of times to different clubs on loan, did really well, got his experience. So then when he actually did get into the Arsenal team, he was okay. He could deal with it.
Yeah, he never got. I mean, he is a kind of one that got away though, isn't he? Because in many people's eyes,
he's one of our own. They were singing to him on the weekend.
Oh.
The Arsenal fans, when they were 2-0 up, they were singing to.
When
Martinez.
they were 2-0 up.
Yeah, when they were singing 2-0.
We can all do that when we're 2-0 up.
I bet that didn't last very long.
No.
They got...
Kimmy Miller's been in touch. He's a Rotherham fan.
Yes.
Dave, I was born and bred.
I know, that's what he's saying. Can you ask Dave, as he was born and brought up in Rotherham, was he ever close to playing for the mighty Millers?
No.
Nowhere near it.
No, because... No. So as a young'un, there's the Yorkshire roots coming through. As a young lad, I'd never signed for anybody's schoolboy forms, and the reason that I did that is that I wanted to go to all these clubs around the Yorkshire area to see who I was going to play for. But Leeds were always there, So, and I've always been a Leeds fan.
Yeah.
So Leeds were there. So I went to Rotherham. I went to both Sheffield clubs, Chesterfield, everywhere. Bradford, Barnsley, all those clubs around there on trial, and they all wanted me to sign. But it was always going to be Leeds. My hardest choice was whether to sign for Leeds as a goalkeeper or Yorkshire as a fast bowler, because I had that option at 16.
Wow.
So, but my head teacher was an ex-cricketer that had played for Chesterfield, and my PE teacher was an ex-footballer that had played for Barnsley, and my PE teacher got into my head. He's like, don't even think about cricket, do the football.
Good
choice.
What might have been?
Could have been playing with Goffey.
Exactly. We could have had a good proper Yorkshire chat.
Yeah. And just quickly, you do a little bit of Arsenal as well. You do some of the tours now and again and go on and do your bit for Arsenal. With a story today that Manchester United, Jim Ratcliffe there, and he's part of his cost cutting, he's cut back on the salaries of Brian Robson, Andy Cole, Dennis Irwin, who'd been doing some legends. They were kind of ambassadors.
Yeah.
And I think fans of clubs, fans of clubs, that matters to them. It doesn't matter who you support. Those legends matter. And when you look at the money that's gone out of that club from the Glaziers and other sources, it does feel like a bit of a false economy to take, 250 quid off of Brian Robson.
It's weird, that, and obviously that's going to make the headlines because of the players that they are or the players that they were. But when you hear of what wages certain players at Man United are on, you're thinking, that's not really going to make a difference. So what sort of notice are you trying to put out there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you say, I do 2 or 3 VIP tours at Arsenal per season. And it's not on a match day. It's like, I've got one this Sunday coming up actually, and and I take like 40 people around, and the people that do it really enjoy it. And I enjoy it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. So I don't know what point they're trying to make by doing that. It's just a weird one.
Feels like a false economy. That's right. Well, David, always good to see you.
Thank you, David.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
And I'll see you at the London Football Awards, if not before. Thanks for popping in.
Cheers.
And we will catch up with you soon.
Hopefully I'm going to go catch some big fish now.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, right. Have fun.
Down there.
Tight lines.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.